Hey there. So you might be noticing that we've got new branding. Okay, and for the first minute, you have to tell me, do you like the giant letters or do you like it a little smaller? I haven't figured out how to get rid of this little dot here yet, but we will. So chitty chat with me about that in the comments and let me know which one you like the best because I'll probably end up going with the smaller one, but I kind of really like the giant one. So we're going to go with that today because I love it. So today we are talking about this idea of how to show up in a way that allows the right people to come into you. So I have had lots of experiences where you're in the right place at the right time for the right people. And so, how do you actually make that happen? Because I've also been in seasons when I've been showing up and the right people don't seem to be showing up at the places that I think are the right places to be. And sometimes that's doing the same exact thing. So, whether you're showing up online, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all these different platforms, pick your platform of choice, but what does it look like for you to show up in a way that makes sense for you in order to attract the right people to you? So, I'm going to tell you a story about actually what happened to me yesterday. And so, I have been kind of in a funk. And it's kind of all revolved around this idea of dating and finding the right person and what does that look like and how do you find people and the same problems that we have when we're trying to find clients. How do I find the right people? Who's going to actually engage with me? What does this look like for a long-term relationship with this person? It's the same problem, the same feelings. It's just one ends up in a romantic relationship and one ends up in a client relationship. And so if we can keep that in mind during this story, that's going to help you understand some of these pieces that I'm about to explain. So I was in a funk. I was done doing laundry yesterday. And I was like, I need to go somewhere, but I need to go somewhere far enough away to where I can't just turn around and go back home. So I drove out to an area that's about 20, 25 minutes away from me. And there's this little lake that's there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be in nature. I'm going to walk around. But there's also shops that are all around this little area. It's the perfect little spot. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go for this walk. And I'm walking around the shops part first because that's where I parked. And I run across this older woman who's window shopping these stores that are closed. And you can tell that she's like in love with the stuff that she's seeing in the window. But, she specifically had mentioned that she window shops when they're closed because of the fact that, it's a little too outside of her price range. And I was like, totally understand that. So there was a place that I had gone to in where I live, and I was telling her all about it and how to get there and where it was, but it was very similar kinds of styles that she was looking at. And I was like, this would be a great thing for you to go check out. It's very reasonably priced. It's something that if you wanted to go and design the inside of your home, you could absolutely do with the stuff that you find here. And so we had this interaction, and it took me back because growing up in Colorado and having lived in California, you don't just stop and talk to people on the side of the street because they think that you are crazy or you have some kind of issue or you're trying to awkwardly sell them something like you're in the middle of New York City. And so getting used to this idea in the South reminds me of why we don't do the things that we do to reach out to people. But it also reminded me of something that I've learned speaking in the tech world, which is the people that are meant for you will find you. And it's this idea. There's two ideas that I'm going to present to you today. But the first one is this idea of when you're speaking, when you're out doing something, when you're going live like this, when you're putting things out on social media, the people that it's meant for will find it. They're going to be magnetically attracted to it. This also depends on what is the intention of this? Like, I'm intending to give you information and to help you grow your business or grow your career, depending on where you're seeing me at. And what does that look like? And here's the intention that I'm putting out into the world before I create anything. So what is that intention for you? Why are you getting in front of people? Why do you want people to reach out to you? Why do you want to start having these conversations? Whether that's for that new job or it's for you growing your business. That is something that you need to consider here. So then the next piece that I've learned from speaking in tech is this idea of the Pac-Man effect, of when we open up a spot in our circle, people are more able to come to it, just like the Pac-Man little person. He's got the little mouth. So that mouth is that open spot. So if we're by ourselves, being open ourselves, but then when we're with other people and we're standing together, we're going to leave open a little spot instead of closing ourselves off. So if I close these pens off, it's harder for somebody to come into that group of people because of the fact that there's no open space. But if I create that little Pac-Man effect mouth now I have the ability for somebody to step right here because it seems welcoming and open. And then if somebody does join there, then we open it up again, and then there's more room for people to join. Because so many times, especially in things where we're trying to build community, we build community, we have all these pieces that come together for us, and then we're like, okay, well, we found our people, and now these are the only people that we want in our little circle here. The problem with that is that people change. People want new things. You have other people that you're going to come in contact with that fit into your community and what you're trying to build if you open it up for them. And so I had another opportunity to have this happen as I walked around this lake and finished. I was on one side and the sunset was over here. So it was really hard to take great pictures of it because I was just kind of getting a side angle view of this. So I was walking around and I saw that there was a bench, but it was still too much on the side. So I sat down for a minute, took a couple pictures of some boys that were in a canoe, and then walked back and saw that there was another bench that was right directly in front of where the sunset was. Problem? There was a guy sitting there. And I was like, okay, cool. We can do this. We're grown-ups. We can have conversations with people. And so I walked over there, saw that he was drawing. So I had my connection point because that's something that's in my repertoire. And I sat next to him and I said, hey, are you okay if I sit on this bench with you? And I was taking pictures of the sunset and kind of, feeling out if he wanted to talk or not. And he started to kind of chit chat with me back and forth. And we ended up having a really great 30 or 45-minute conversation from being able to be open like that. And so these are the opportunities that you have that bring the right people in, no matter what you're trying to bring the person in for, whether that's like we talked about dating or bringing in a new client. These are the important parts that make this easier. We're just being people and talking to other people as how we would want to be talked to. So I hope that's helpful. And